There we go. I think I'm recording that. Okay, great. So this is what we had at the end of the class, last class, right? All right. So, let me get my notes. What we're going to have to do to get this to work is, well, first of all, let's take a look at the engine. Open up your 10.2 engine. And actually, let's go ahead and let's save these all. Let's make a brand new version for today's week. That way we can have something brand new. So let's go ahead and save these as. Make sure you make a new directory for class for week 11 or class meeting 11, and save it in there. So I'm going to say, so I'm going to take this 10.2 engine and I'm going to save as. Let's call this. In class 11, call it 11.2 engine. And make sure you either make a class 11 directory or put it in a different directory than you had your 10.2 stuff in. So 11.2 engine. And let's do the same thing with the interface. File, save as 11.2 interface. Make sure you're saving it in class 11. Okay, so this is all we had so far for the engine, and the engine is actually what's making the video, right? So we have this renderer over here that isn't hooked up to anything. That's going to need, what is that going to need if we're going to render stuff?
Some kind of a window. Or...
Exactly, it's going to need a window. What else is it going to need? It's going to need render bangs, some bangs to actually make it render, and it's going to need erase messages to erase the previous frame. So we'll be adding that. But before that, we're going to need more than one video plane. We're going to need one video plane for each of these movie players. You got our movie players over here, right? So let's copy all this. See, do you guys all have this? The one movie video plane that we started with last class? All right, ended with last class. Let's duplicate this, all of this, to make a second, and duplicate it again to make a third and a fourth movie plane, video plane. Now, if we just left these alone, they're all going to show the same video because we need to specify different textures for each one. So right, see where it says at texture 01? Make the second one texture 02. Third one texture 03. So all of you who tried the homework have emailed me at this point, right? Okay, great. Yeah. And then the last one texture 04. And we'll have to look at our movie players and make sure that they're actually sending out their textures on with those names. But we'll do that in just a second. Texture 04. Whoops. There we go. You can resize them to make them look prettier if you want. I like to, when I resize these, I like to make all my symbol attributes line up, and it makes it really easy to see exactly what attributes you have for that object. Sometimes they don't let you line them up perfectly because you have a really long one and a really short one, and so it wants to put two on one line. But if you get them close to lined up, it'll be way easier to figure out what's going on inside your object. So that's the first step. Oh, now we need to connect these route mults to the opacity parameter of that pack color. For the second, third, and fourth. We only have it so far on the first one. So attach this output where it's coming in from mult 2 to the last box here for the second video layer. And then mult 3 is going to go to the last box of this third video layer. And where's my fourth one? There it is, way over there. And fourth to the last one. We can actually delete these other 3 boxes for now because we won't be needing them. And we want to leave those values as 1. Okay, I'm going to try to consolidate this a little bit. In fact, I'm going to put it in two levels to try to fit it in less screen real estate. Great. Okay. Now, let's see. Let's take a look at those movie players. Those were probably another problem from what we left off with. So open up the first subpatcher. Now right off, you'll notice that these are subpatchers, not external patchers. So what does that mean if we make a change in one of them?
They all change.
Exactly. It's the opposite of what you said, Gilly. It's that they don't conform their changes. So you can either redo these to be external patchers, which you would just need to save a max pack called movie playback with the contents of what's inside the subpatcher, and then just load it that way. And then they would all conform, or you could just make your changes to each one. But let's start with the first one. Let's just leave it as is. It's only 4 movie players. We'll just make the changes on each one. All right, so you should have these values in the first one. At volume 0, just for our own sanity, at output texture 1, out texture name, texture 0, 1. You all have that?
Does it matter if the volume is on a different spot? Or
No, actually, those attributes can be anywhere in the object, and it doesn't care.
Okay.
Yeah. As long as there's a space between, you're not accidentally mixing 2 attributes together by not putting a space between them, that kind of thing. So yeah, we don't need what was there before. I believe is probably an outlet with the matrix coming out of the JIT movie. We don't need that anymore because we're using textures. We're not using matrices. And we need read and rate, and that's the same as before. So do you all have this? Can I move on? Okay, great. So let's now double click inside the next one and make sure it looks the same, but not too much the same. You'll notice that this is actually wrong because this one has the same texture name as the other movie player because I must have copied and pasted from before. So make sure that the second one, and if you made a bunch of changes, it's probably easier to just go ahead and copy this subpatch and then paste replace over these, but then you'll have to go in and change that texture name, right? So if my second movie player still had those unsaved changes, I could copy this first movie player, copy it, and then go down here and go edit, paste, replace. And that will paste over this, but keep all those connections so you don't have to rebuild all those connections. But then what you'll have to do is go in here and make sure you change your parameters so that it gives it a unique texture name because it's going to have the same texture name of texture 01. We want this one to be texture 02 because it's our second movie player. Okay, so I'm going to paste replace this third movie player, which I believe the shortcut is Option Command V. And I'll go in here and make sure I change this to texture 03. And the fourth movie player, whoa, that one's the old, that's what you probably had originally. That's the old original movie player. Let me paste replace this. And then go inside and change this to texture 04.
And we need outlets for these guys, don't we?
Do not need outlets because they just specify their texture And on the video plane, we specify what texture it's going to use. So there's a virtual connection without having to actually connect a line between those. Because everything is named and yeah, and you're specifying that named texture in your video plane. So yeah, you don't need an outlet. Okay. So we got that. Does everybody have that? Made those changes? And have updated your texture names so that they're all unique? Great. Okay, so then we have our movie players. They should be working. We have our 4 video layers with their opacities. That should work. Okay, so now we just need to set up what we need to get the renderer to render. And all we need for the render is another erase message and then a bang. We want it to go ahead and bang all the movie players first. And that, you know, that order is all set here by this trigger bang, 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 right? So T, B, 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 B. So we want it to go ahead and do what it's already doing, which is trigger, send bangs to the movie players first. That way they all send out their frames. Then we bang the, then we erase the previous render frame, and then we render the current render frame based on what those movie players have output. That way, you know, that order is established. It's got, we have all the content to make the new frame. We erase the old frame. We draw the new frame every single time. So in order to maintain this order, we just, at the end of the list, which is actually at the beginning of the list when you type it, it's backwards, it's stupid, I know. We need to add a bang and an erase. And then what you're going to need to do, turn off your Metro. You'll probably notice now you've sent a whole bunch of like error messages that says, I don't understand that. That's because we need to move all of these bangs over. So move all of these down to the end. Okay, and then, so then we're left with 2 here, and this one's an erase, which is the 5th thing that's coming out of this trigger. And then the 6th thing that's coming out of the trigger is the bang to render. So send both of these into the JIT GL render. And if you turn on your Metro again, couldn't get context for destination 4-channel mixer. I won't worry about that yet. Do you have that error too in your Max console? No. Okay, I'm just going to ignore it for now. Oh, I need a window.
Oh, because I didn't turn the toggle back on, that's why.
Oh, did you get that error?
I did. Yes.
Okay, maybe it's because we don't have a window. JIT GL, yeah, that's why. JIT GL render is complaining, saying, hey, you're telling me to render, but I don't have a place to render to. That's because there's no window. So we need to make a JIT GL, just JIT.window. Oh my God. Get out of my screen, I can't see. There. And name it the same name, 4CH mixer, with the same capitalization, whatever you used. Great, and now you probably have a white screen. Go back to your interface now. What? That's fine, don't worry about it. Let's make sure let's see what's going on here. Change your movie items on your interface here so that they're all different. And set all of these rates to 1. So that way the movies actually play. And let's try there. Okay, I see something on mine. Yeah. Oh, I know what's going on. Ha ha ha. Okay, so what is probably going on is this slider's value. Let's take a look at what value this slider is actually sending. So when you move your sliders down, can you see anything? Can anybody see anything? Oh, here. Go ahead and change the level on all your sliders to something. So that way it updates the value with whatever you're doing. And then pull all your sliders down. And bring one of them up. Try bringing a different one up. Yeah, we're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on that. But can you get one of them to? Can you see anything like that?
Mine just pops on and off.
Okay. What I think is going on with that is the sliders value. Let's take a look at what value that slider is taking is putting out. So in your route mult, in the value that you're sending to the pack color, what is it? What is that value right here? Mine is a 0.5. What is yours? Is it something above 1?
Mine is 5.
5?
Right now.
5, yeah. Okay, so what's going on there is your slider has got the wrong range. Let's go look at your slider. Open up what was the file what was the bpatcher file? I think it was movie vals. Did we resave movie vals? Open up 10.2 movie vals. Should have this, right? Take a look at this slider right here and open up your inspector. Go down here and see if it has float output and what its range is.
Float output, no.
So turn it on to float output
Okay.
and change the range from 256 to 1 period. Okay. Does that make sense? What the difference was?
Yeah. So right now it's looking for.
So if we're sending values out of that slider that are integers going from 0 to 255, the second it moves 1 tick, it automatically sends a opacity of 1. And once you get above 1, it doesn't even listen anymore. So your thing's just going to snap on or snap off. So yeah, once you make that change, because this is a bpatcher, which is an external, when you save it, it should change every single other movie player. So you won't have to deal with this again. So go ahead and save that as is. I mean, save it with the changes. And try it now. Does your movie player, can you see anything on one of them? Mine's kind of weird on this first movie for whatever reason. But the second one and so forth seem to work. Looks like I have to send my rates again. So, if you made a change, then it's basically respawned all these objects. So change your values and bring them back down again to update that new information, and change the videos to something new. So each one's different. And you should have some basics. Now you'll notice that it doesn't necessarily work the way you would want. I mean, it depends on what you want. But you'll notice that, like, if both of these are up all the way, I can't see the basketball player.
Yeah. My videos are showing up and everything,
Uh-huh.
but they're not playing.
Okay, did you set a rate to 1 down here on this thing? These to 1?
Oh, sorry, reset.
Yeah. Because once you resave, then it reset that to 0. We should probably actually in that file, the movie vals file, you could put a load mess or a load bang and then have it set that to 1 when it first loads. So that way, by default, it's 1 instead of 0. All right, so does everybody have this? Is anybody's not working this so far? Okay, let's take a look. What is yours doing? All right, where's your engine? Right here. And arrays, yeah. Okay. Did you window? Did you change these on the movie playback? Haven't changed that. Well, that's all right. Texture 4, texture output 1, texture 3, texture output 1, texture 2. Okay, and let's see. All right, so it looks like you're still sending. Yeah, so it looks like you haven't updated your sliders yet, like we just did a second ago. So go into and open up your movie vowels. Which is the newest one, I guess? Oh, so you made a change and you saved it as something else? I see. So what you'll have to do is in these, you'll have to say which that new file. Try that. So if you saved your movie vowels as something else, go back into your bpatcher and specify that new file name for the movie vowels.
When it was all working, everything was working fine, and then I just opened it, and now nothing's playing.
Well, that's because your rates are all set to 0. There you go. All right.
Mine is still just snapping.
Okay, so then take a look at, open your movie vowels.
Okay.
And, did you save this as 11.2? Okay, did you reload that
Yeah, these guys are now back.
to 11.2?
Yes. Oh, well, this one is, but.
That's scripting name, don't worry about that.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
can have a different scripting
Yeah, these
name,
are back
that's
to
fine.
11.2, so they're matched up with him.
Okay, do you have more than one open right now? Oh, and is it not, and the slider is still snapping? Did you try that?
So it's.
Yeah, it's working for the most part. It looks like one of your color messages has been messed with because one of those
Yeah.
videos was. So go back in and wherever it says color, make sure that it's saying color 1111, and then you're only attached to the. So yeah. Oh, change that back to 1. Send a. Actually, here, just delete this packed color and then just delete it and then undo to reset it with its initial values. So that's that, and then you can get rid of those boxes for now because we're not working with those.
Even for the first one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So now it should have its regular color. So that might have had something to do with it. If you had a value of zeros, then if it was black, you wouldn't be able to see it even if it was at full opacity.
Okay. And then for these ones, should these be at 0 or 1?
They should be between 0 and 1. Your value should go between 0 and 1 and shouldn't go above 1 in your slider. Your slider shouldn't be sending a value between 0 and 1. I mean, above 1. Yeah, there we go. It seems to be working. Yeah, great.
One of my sliders isn't working. I was looking for
Nothing's showing up.
all the others are working fine.
All right, pull all those down. Pull everything down. Just the sliders. They're not where they are. I mean, pull their values down all the way. Lock your patcher. All right, now change the value on that, and change that to 1. You're trying to play it at 32 times the speed, which might be screwing up the movie player. And change the value. Change the movie to something else, and change the value up and down. No, not that value. That's the speed. And put that back to 1. The slider. All right. Go into your engine then. It's probably in your movie player. So go into the P movie playback and take a look at. Okay. Okay. So it's not that. It's going to be in the values coming into that. So route. probably in the color message. Try changing that value just by, dragging that up and down. Now you want to drag it so that it's over further in the box so that you're going up, so that you have, let go of it. Okay, move your mouse to the right-hand side of the box. Here, actually, just go down to 0 first. And then what you do is, when you're dragging, if you drag over here, you'll get more precision. If you drag over here, it'll move really quick.
0.1. Oh, sorry, 1 point.
I
Yeah.
can't look at it like, 'cause it was working before.
I have maybe your movie player crashed. Let's try this. And let's send it a new read message. I don't know.
It was the first one I got working before. So.
Yeah, we'll come back to it. Just try reloading your patch. I don't see anything that's specific.
There we go.
Yeah.
So mine's still just white.
Okay. All right. So set. Yeah. Put those all down to 0. No, leave the rates at 1. The sliders down to 0. And then, make them have different views. And now, pull up your first slider. Okay, where's your window? All right. Okay, looks like. Oh, and did you pull up your slider all the way to the top?
Yeah.
Okay, that one has got probably why. Yeah, a texture binding problem. All right, and now delete this video player and then undo what you did to respawn.
I know, weird.
And now see if it works. And try. Go to your Max window, see if you have any error messages. Can't find blading. Well, there's one thing. Blading. You spelled blading wrong. Make sure that you have not blading loaded. No, you don't. Darn it. All right. What's in your movie player? Movie playback. Yeah. Can you resize that so I can see if it's got bad spaces in it? All right. No, that's fine. Put it back. Well, that should work. Is it just that one that's not working, or can you see any of them? When you pull down that first slider, can you see the other ones? Something. All right, take a look at what your slider output. Are they actually putting out floats, or did you change that?
No, it's okay.
Probably. And when you pull your first slider up, like,
Oh, I'm sure that's it. I'm just
okay,
gonna
that
keep
looks
my
about right.
real
Okay.
on.
Here you want to compare with
I don't know. I'll have to come back to that.
That's okay.
All right, so
Gilly has made a problem also.
yeah, we're never gonna get through this. What?
No. So it's not, let me scan some of these. So basically what happens, let me just take this down for a second. These two don't change, and I think that might be what's affecting this.
What do you mean by don't change?
Like, so let me go back to the sliders. Or
When they're up, you can't see something else.
Exactly. Well, those values just don't change. So like now I'm taking all the sliders down, right? So I should see changing those two, but I do not. These change when they don't output.
So
I
yeah,
think-
you screwed something up. Let's
Yeah, I
see.
did.
It's probably in your parameters for these movie players.
Okay.
Did you give them each unique parameters?
I don't think so.
Patching arguments. There's 2. That one's got 3. That one's got 4. So that should be right. Did you make a change to your movie vals and then save it as something else, like
No, I
11?
saved it as the same thing.
Okay.
Just saved the one I had.
So this is not getting, so when I'm moving that, that float's not moving, supposedly. Okay, route, all right, well, here you go. You messed up your route here.
Oh,
You got
well.
missing spaces.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, I gotta move on. Yes. Where?
Yeah, oh, I see what
That's
you're saying
fine, just leave it as rain. Make sure you click on float output or else it's not gonna work.
I did have some.
And then it will change to 1 if you have it on float output. All right, so you should have, so right now, if 2 of these are up, you're only gonna see 1, and you can't really specify which one you wanna see. It's kind of locked in. That's because we haven't told the computer how to handle layering. And since these are all in the same geographical place, it just is a crapshoot as to which one is on top. So, you know, 2 things at 100% opacity, when you're not doing additive blending or anything like that, you're just doing opacity blending, you know, it's like 2 pieces of paper. You know, you can't see the second piece of paper, even though it's not transparent, because the paper on top of it is not transparent. So what we want to do is, well, first of all, let's make an addition to these to give ourselves the ability to specify what layer to put the video on. So what we can do is go back and open your movie vals file. And let's go ahead and make this thing a little bit smaller. And let's add a tag next to it that says rate so that we know what it is. Because a lot of you were trying to move that thinking it was the slider value. And let's make another box, but this one's going to be an int, not a float. And duplicate this rate, and this one is going to be layer. Okay, and then on this integer box, let's go ahead and specify some minimum and maximum values so that we don't get lost. It's going to be no smaller than 0, and it's going to be no bigger than 4 because there's only 4 video layers. Okay, and then all we need is another one of these little messages that's, you know, pound underscore, or pound 1, you know, for the first patcher argument, underscore, and then let's call it rate instead of molt. $1. Did I say rate? I'm sorry. I meant layer. We already have one for rate. And pass the layer into there and pass that into the output. Now let's go ahead and let's capture all of these lines again by option dragging your mouse down and do a Command K to hide on lock. Then they should all go away.
Can I see those patch codes again? Please?
Yeah, the bottom thing goes into the layer, and then out of the layer goes into the outlet, right?
Exactly. So from the layer to this layer message, from the integer box to this layer message, and then out to the outlet. And make sure you move your layer over here away from your slider because you don't want to see it. You don't want to see it in your B patcher.
It's Command K, you said?
Command K will hide on lock. So option drag to get all of your patch cords. Make sure you haven't highlighted something you want to see like layer or rate tags, and then go to do a Command K to hide on lock. And then when you lock it, they should disappear. And go ahead and save this now. And your B patchers should automatically change themselves. You might not be able to see it. It might still be like this, and you'll have to like drag it down. But drag it down so that you can see your rate and your layer. You with me? Okay, and now we're gonna have to edit our engine, right? Because we have that whole routing thing in our engine, but we haven't routed for layer yet. So how did these routes work? What comes out? Say this, for example. What's going to come out the first outlet? The first one here on this file name route.
The fourth movie?
Well, no, the first outlet's going to, if you hover over it, it'll tell you.
First one.
It's going to be one file name, right? And then the very last outlet, what comes out the very last outlet?
If they don't match.
Exactly. So if we wanted to add a new one, we'd probably add it to the last outlet of what? Exactly, right over here. So let's make a new route object. You can just duplicate the molt route object, drag it over here, pass it on from the last outlet of that route to the inlet of this route, and then change these molts to layer, to the word layer. So 1 underscore layer, 2 underscore layer. Hopefully that was what you did in your B patch, in your movie vals. You probably, I mean, in the movie vals we did a #1 underscore layer, and you remember that gets replaced by the patcher argument when we instantiate the B patcher, and we set those arguments in inspector. So that will be where those come out. And now what we want to do is pass that message to the video plane, not the color, the video plane of each of these, for each of these video layers. Okay, and now wait. Didn't I just change that? Oh, that's 11.2 engine. Wah, wah. Let's see what I did there. 10.2 engine. Why did they even have that open? Great. And so now it should work. That was probably why I was having errors. I had my old engine open, so it was still getting commands. So now go back, because we made changes in our B patcher, you'll have to load new movies and stuff in here. Dishes, dozer, countdown, ducks. Rates, make sure they have a rate of 1. And now I'm going to specify layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, and layer 4. And remember, higher layers are going to be on top of lower layers. Yeah, whatever's happening with your first movie player, mine's doing the same thing where it's just white. I don't know why. I'll come back. I'll try to figure that out. But the other ones work right.
Did you do anything to update, like my sliders didn't update, my B patchers didn't update with the layer?
Yeah, you need to make sure to then go back to your B patcher and specify the new file name if you gave it a new file name. When you saved your movie vals, you must have gave it a new file name. So then you'll have to go back and specify that new file name in your B patcher. So now you should be able to change the, so like, you know, the ducks is on top. If I wanted countdown on top, I could change this to layer 4 and ducks to layer 3. And it should work, but it's not. Damn it.
Mine worked.
Good.
You win.
You win.
Yeah, I totally got lucky.
I must have mispatched something on that layer 3. Let's see.
Mine doesn't understand int, which is interesting.
You're probably passing that layer message into something wrong. What doesn't understand int?
The video playing.
So what int are you sending into the video playing? You never sent. Okay, what happened with your then is that layer? You never created your layer message. I would assume in your movie vals. You just took that int box and just sent it right out the outlet instead of going to a message. Is that right?
I went to the message box for number one layer, $1.
Yeah. Okay. And then out of that to the thing. And then the what is saying it can't understand int, and where is that int coming from? And clear those. And change it now and see if it still gives you that message. Change the layer.
Oh.
Not in your movie files. Is it giving you the, is that new?
Yeah.
So, layer one. Okay. Oh, I know where it is. On the route, coming off of the route in your engine. Yeah, that's what it is, guys. I probably messed that up. It needs to coming off of the route. You need to actually add that layer message back in. I forgot that. Sorry about that. Go back into your engine. And oh, where's my engine? Didn't I make that? What did I save it as?
The 10.2 one?
I must have saved it as 10.2 by accident. All right. No. Darn it. Go into your newest engine, we just added all that layer stuff in. I don't know where mine went. Oh, there it is. 11.2 engine. This needs to be, I messed up. So this, we need to put in between these, instead of going directly into it, because you're right, that's just going to be an integer. We need to put the message layer $1.
What is that?
That actually sends the message layer to the video plane, because before we were just sending a 1, because this route, when it routes one layer, it removes that word and is just left with the value, and we never put the actual message in there. This is what happens when I was working off of my notes. I thought I was on top of things and I wasn't.
And that goes into the POC or that goes into the video plane?
Directly into the video plane, not into the POC. I just screwed that up too. Thank you. All right, so layer $1. And those don't need to be layer $2, $3, $4. They're all going to be layer $1. Because you're just replacing that, but they're patched into the different outputs of the route. That's how they get unique messages. That's what it was. So now, if this is on layer 4, 3, 2, 1. If I wanted countdown on top now, I could put this on layer 3 and this on layer 4. And now countdown's on top. Great. Okay, that works now.
So,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, can I see the engine again?
Sure. So in the engine, you just make sure we need to have these layer $1 messages.
mine does not work.
Yeah.
Mine is still, the first one is always number
Did you put it into the POC color or did you put it into the video plane?
I put it into the video plane.
Okay. I'll take a look.
I was actually looking before.
And what's not working?
Just changing the layer. So if I make that 3,
Which one's got countdown?
the first one.
pull countdowns thing down. And do the other ones work?
Yeah, the mixer all works.
No, I know, but changing the layer on just not one, because my first channel was weird too. No, that's not working. Yeah. Okay. Then there's something screwed up with that. Go. Let me see. What's your layer message again? Oh, open your Max window. Are you getting errors? Command M. Yeah. There you go. You erase. You're sending an erase to your JIT movie for some reason. You did. Okay. So what happened here? Are those new or are those old?
All these?
Yeah.
I don't know, I haven't opened those.
And change your layer messages around now. See. No errors. And it's still not working, right? What did you do?
RCA, yeah, it's defaulting that way.
Okay, so what is? Well, let me look at your movie players. Are your movie players at blend enable 1, depth enable 1, depth enable 0?
Depth enable 0.
Yeah.
Texture
1, 2, 3, 4. That's right. 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer, 4. Did you put a capital L in your message?
No, I don't think so.
That's where it is.
Went
You put capital L in your route. Is your message on your movie vowels have a capital L
in here.
in your movie vowels? Open up 11.2 movie vowels or 10.2 movie vowels, whatever it was. And what is your, see, that's it. You got a lowercase L, but you're routing for a capital L. Okay? Yeah. What? All right.
I'm not getting them. And I checked them.
What isn't working?
It's not countdown in one. Well, the first one.
So this, if you want it on top, it would be on layer 4.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Okay. Layer 4 is on top of layer 1. All right, so now we have a fairly functional. I don't know if my first layer is not working. I don't know why. I'll come back to that. But it should be working for the most part. Layer, and maybe I fixed it. Let me see. Yeah, mine works, but for whatever reason, I think the movie player on my first movie player has crashed, and that's why it's just outputting white. But other than that, it works. All right. So what would we have to do if we wanted? So this is great. This is an opacity mixer with layer control. We would probably actually want to give. Go back into your movie vowels. We're probably going to want to, in your movie vowels, give this box, the new one we added, the layer, a scripting name. That way we can auto-pad or capture that layer, because you're going to want to have that kind of control when you're queuing. You're going to want to be able to specify what layers are what. So go into the inspector for that. And down here under var name, scripting name, what were we doing before? What was the convention? Let's see. Oh, just the name. Just name it. Just call it layer. It doesn't. You don't need to give it a #1 or anything. Layer. And then save that. And now you'll be able to capture that with your auto patter. So that's cool. Save that engine as, let's save this engine as something else. Let's save it as, call this an opacity mixing engine. Okay, and now let's make a new one that works the way we were mixing before, which was additive intensity mixing. So let's save this as the engine, and we'll rename it to save it as what did I call it? Oh, I'm on the wrong class. Hold on. Save it as color mixer. Or actually, no, call it additive mixing engine. Because that's the kind of mixing we're doing. Okay? Now, first thing we want to do is we want to change the way these video planes blend each other. By default, they are on a kind of blending called alpha blending, and that's what we just were working with. So if two things are on the same layer, if two things are including each other, whatever has the lower opacity will let you see the thing behind it. If they're both on the same layer and they're both at 100% opacity, then it's whoever is on the higher layer, and if they're both on the same layer, then it's just a crapshoot as to which one you see. That's alpha blending. Go right-click on your input here and go to where it says blend. Try to find the thing that just says blend, not blend enable, not blend mode, just blend.
Or click on what? I'm sorry.
The inlet of the video plane.
I don't see it just blend.
It's hard to see, but it's there. Make sure you're on the video plane, not the POC. And it's right here, blend. There's no checkbox for it. That's why it's a little hard to see.
Blend alpha blend?
Yes, blend alpha blend. Sorry. That's the alpha blend in parentheses is the actual value, not the name of it. And change this to add. And do that for all of them. Actually, it's going to take forever to do a truies like that. Let's just add the parameters in here, okay? So it's the parameter is called @blend. So at the end of this parameters, @texture01, put a space and then say @blend space add. @blend add.
So
And then do that to all of them.
are we deleting the blend enable one to enable 0?
No, leave that there. Leave everything there. Just add a new parameter that says @blend add.
And that goes after all.
It can go anywhere, but it just needs to make sure that there's a space in between it, that you're not running into some other parameter, because if you run them two together with no space, then it will not load either of those parameters. So yeah, you can just copy that, go to the end of your everything, hit a space, and then paste it in. And now you'll see you should just have a white mess on screen, which is an added of everything that's playing right now. I don't know, actually, since we made some changes to your movie vals, you might have to actually put new movies in these and reload them. Oh, and put rates of 1.
Looks awesome.
Yeah, it's all white. That's because right now it's doing an additive blend of all of these, and it's pretty much ignoring the opacity. It's all based on the color of the video plane. Now the video plane has a color, but we're only using, we're pasting, we're texturing over that color. But that color, regardless of the texture, is what the additive blend uses to tell, which how it's adding. So it's this pack color. So what we want to do basically is, if you wanted something to be invisible in this additive blending scheme, we want its color to go from 1111 to 0000. If it's 0000, then you'll see through it. You'll see the other things below it. So what we can do is, instead of taking this mult to the opacity, send it to the first, skip this first inlet because that's for the symbol color, but then send it to the next 3 inlets. So that way, when you're moving that slider up, it'll be creating, numbers that have, it'll be creating the parameters of 000, between 000 and 111. Leave the last one at 1. We don't even need the opacity anymore. We can just leave that. Whoops, I messed mine up. Don't go in the first inlet on the pack. Make sure it's the 2nd through 4th inlet. Now save this. And you should have an additive mixer now if you have that engine running. Make sure you have your other engine closed. Don't have both your engines open at the same time. B-ball, RCA, dishes, and dozer. Now it mixes kind of the way we mixed before when we were doing matrix mixing. But it's all texture based and it's a lot faster than matrix mixing. Now you're doing this additive mixing. Is that working for everybody? Does that make sense? Is anybody confused about how that's working?
Confused about why we wanted the pop color.
Okay, so that POC color is actually describing this, describing the video plane. Where is my engine? Oh, right here. These video planes. So we're describing the color of these video planes. You could actually, you could independently even adjust the colors below this. Go ahead and try this out. Put a float box right here and attach it to like the middle inlet of this the second color inlet here, and try lowering that down something below 1. And you'll see you're actually you're pulling out that color from the video channel. Right? So what that's doing is it's actually coloring the video plane. If the video plane is fully white, meaning it has values of 1, a float value of 1 for RG and B, then the video that you texture it with will look normal. If you color that video plane by either pulling out pulling out the red and the green channel or the blue channel, or changing those values of the red, green, and blue. Basically what it's like doing is it's like you can think of your video playing as a projector screen, okay? If you have a white projector screen and you project an image on it, it looks normal. If you have a yellow projector screen and you project an image on it, whatever was white in your movie is yellow now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what we're doing. All we're doing to make that layer become invisible, we're making that projector screen not reflect any light, meaning it's like ultra black. And so then, because it doesn't reflect any light, we see the light reflected from the other screens. Does that make sense? I mean, that analogy starts to break down because a black screen is not see-through, but it has to do with the way that we're blending the signals. So there's other types of blending. So we've looked at alpha blend and we've looked at additive blending. There's also some other, so go back to your, let's go ahead and, save this, close it, and reopen your, you can have the interface still open, but open up, make sure you close your additive engine and then open up your opacity mixing engine again. And then because it's now new movie players, you're going to have to go and send some of this information again. Great. Okay, so now that we're at opacity mixing, there's another thing called blend mode. And that's also in the video plane. Whichever video that you're looking at that's on top right now, figure out what layer that is. For me, this is the 4th mixer. So I'm going to go over here to this 4th video plane. And I want to play around with the blend modes. So right click on this and find the thing that says blend mode 6, 7. Try changing some of the values of that 6 and 7 to something else. You'll see that it changes how it mixes it. So you can play around with different types of blend modes. You can play around with different types of blend strategies. Blend mode, what do these mean? It's kind of hard to explain. I could probably spend an entire class on talking about blend modes, but you can go into the help, and if you click on where it says blend mode over here, blend mode, it tells you what they are. So there's 0, 1, destination color, source color, 1 minus the destination color, 1 minus the source color, source alpha, and 1 minus source alpha. Those 6 and 7 are the most common ones we use, and that's why they're the default. It's 6 and 7. Basically, you're saying blend based on the alpha. But yeah, if you're more interested in that, they talk about that more in the tutorials that I assigned you guys, so make sure you're doing those tutorials. But just play around with them. There, you can discover some interesting stuff. 6, 7 is the normal one. There's also the type of blend, so that at blend. Go on this last video player. Let's just look at this real quick. Right click on the input and find where it says blend, alpha blend, and try changing that to like screen. So screen is, these are kind of the same kind of blend modes that you'll see on like Photoshop, where they have like darken or color add and alpha black exclusion. So those do some slightly different things too, but I don't want to spend too much time about talking about them because I don't really know exactly what they do. I don't use them very often. I mostly am just using either add or alpha blend. Those are the most common. If you want like transparent stuff with transparent coloration, where the color of a layer behind is getting colored by passing through this newer layer, that's when you'd use stuff like color blend and stuff like that. I've barely ever used that. What's next? So don't save that. That was just to play around with. Oh, I know what to do. Okay, so that's great. That should be all we need for this assignment. For the assignment that was due today. No, obviously I didn't expect you guys to actually figure all of this stuff out. I would have been extremely impressed if you had. But I just wanted you to make an attempt at trying to get those working. Because I think it's important for you guys to fail and to try to persevere around that, to try to break it, to try to figure out, overcome what's going on. Okay, let's look at these. So I'm not going to save this. Let's look at these movie val bpatchers. There was one other function that we started to add in these and then we never finished. And that was like the ability to do a whole other set of sliders for effects parameters. So let's finish that part up really quick. Even though we're not going to effects into next week, I want to have that ready to go so we don't have to spend part of the class building that. So open up your movie vals patcher.
The new one or the old?
The newest one, whatever you loaded. Did I call mine 11? I think I never even renamed mine to 11. And there should be, yeah, mine's still 10.2. That's fine. We had this inlet going to this thing called this patcher, right? Now, what this patcher does is it allows you to send what are called offset messages that move. It's like scrolling your mouse on this. That moves what you see around. And what we can do is these 8 different sliders here are off the screen when we load our bpatcher. But if we send it an offset message into that inlet, we can have it scoot over to show us those mixers. So all we have to do that, we don't even have to make changes to this. Make sure though that your sliders are moved over from these messages and stuff so that you can have enough space that where only these sliders will be showing and nothing else will be showing. And make sure that all your cables are hidden on lock. Now, here's our inlet, right? It's up here at the top of this bpatcher. Send the message offset, and then you give it an X and a Y value. We're only needing to scroll on the X because we don't need to move it up and down. So try offset, let's try 50, 0. We don't need to change anything on the Y, but try it on the X. And click that, and it should move over to the side. Oh, it moved the wrong way. Well, let's try it in negative 50. There. Okay, so now try to figure out how far over you're going to have to do yours to make it line up with those sliders. It's going to be different for everybody based on how you built your movie vals. I think mine was somewhere around 250. Yeah. Maybe 251.
You click the message box.
You like
Oh,
hit it. Yeah.
And then once you do that, oh you'll probably notice that your B patcher isn't wide enough to show everything. So you can make it wider. No, I went too far. Maybe it's more like 220. There we go. There we go, 225. So, and because all the B patchers are the same, once you figure out one of them, the others should all operate the same way. So duplicate that message and attach it to the other B patchers so that each one has their own little offset message. And then you're going to want to make an offset message to put it back the way you had it. So have an offset 0, 0. Yeah, I'm making mine a little bit wider to show everything. And then all you need to have the ability to move that around is like a toggle and a select one or a SEL one. And then pass, if the input matches 1, it sends a bang and send that to there, to the offset negative 225.
Select one.
Yeah, sorry. Here, let me. I'm running out of real estate here. Let me adjust some things so that you guys can see better. This is probably, you're gonna want this to be on top, like that. And on, whoops, and on SEL's, the second outlet, so the first outlet, if it matches 1, it sends a bang. But the second outlet, it doesn't send a bang if it doesn't match. It just sends the number if it doesn't match. So we want to actually trigger a bang from that. Turn that number into a bang. And then send that to the offset 0, 0. So that way, when it's on, it'll go over to those. And when it's off, it'll go back to the first one, like that. So actually, I'm just gonna, once I have this first thing built correctly, I'm just gonna copy all of that and then just repatch.
So it's toggle, select one, trigger bang.
Well, no, the first outlet of the select one goes straight to this offset
okay.
message. The second outlet goes to a trigger bang. I hear a lot of sighing. Are you guys having trouble with this?
I'm having trouble keeping up. Yeah, sorry. It's more like that's what my computer is not.
If you still see a little bit of your message, just try moving some things around. You can resize your B patcher. You can go back into the movie vowels and move the messages around. Try to make it look as pretty as possible. And now, actually that's fine. So what we would probably do, so this would be like, you know, your non presentation mode view. But like when you add these to presentation mode, which you can just drag them, select them, and then do object add to presentation, or Shift Command P. You would add all these toggles to presentation as well, Shift Command P. And then you could move these toggles to somewhere else. And actually, I would probably just move them onto the B patcher, and so it looks like they're part of the B patcher, even though they're not. The great thing about this is because they're not part of the B patcher, when I toggle this toggle, it's not going to move, it's going to move everything else except for that toggle. And so now I can use it to show the different parts of my B patcher. And that's a really model view controller way of doing things. Are you guys all with that so far?
Almost.
Here, I'll go back out of there for you guys. And we have about 30 minutes left, and we're going to use it to have some fun with some OpenGL. We're going to put aside this boring video mixing for a minute and do some fun OpenGL stuff.
Yay, fun!
Because this, I'm going to show you some basic interactive stuff that you can do with OpenGL 3D objects and move them around with the mouse, use a microphone to make them grow in size or move, or you guys can play around. And your homework, we didn't get really far enough this week for me to assign it for homework next week, but I think maybe the following week you'll turn in a interactive OpenGL patch. And it doesn't have to be anything too crazy. Just have some fun, make some things play or bounce around. I just want to see that you guys. I want to foster creativity in that area so that you have some ideas about so that might change what you want to do or help inform you what you want to do on your final project. All right, let's look at that. Are you guys done with this? Can I move on? Okay, great. So let's make a brand new patcher.
You gotta sound excited.
I'm gonna save that and brand new patcher, and we'll call this. Save as, open as, save as, there we go. And we'll call this 11.3? 3. OpenGL interactive intro. All right, so the first thing I wanted to show is this brand new, as of Max 7 thing called jit.world. This makes everything, this encapsulates a lot of the stuff that we've been working with into one object. It was important that you understood what all the parts of that object was, so that's why I still did it the old way up until now. But you can use jit.world from now on, and you'll notice that it does a lot of really cool things. Let's start with that, a jit.world, new jit.world. What jit.world does, it gives you a renderer, a window, and some other things like the ability to do corner pinning and also physics objects. It rolls all of that into one object. So you don't need to have a whole bunch of renderers and windows and all that everywhere. We'll need a toggle to be able to turn on the JIT world. That's all you need, to toggle straight into the JIT world. Hit that, you got your gray screen, meaning it's rendering. We can change the erase color if we want. At erase color 0001 to make it black. There you go. Now it's black. Okay, let's see. What do we want to do? Let's start with a video playing and a movie player. It doesn't come with a movie player. You have to add one of those in. Jit.movie at output texture 1. We're going to work with textures from now on. Output underscore texture. You can just click on it, space 1, at texture name. We have to give the texture a name. And let's just call this my text. No caps. Then we'll need to actually read a movie file into that. Read a movie file. Might want to be at vol 0. Then read another movie file again.
How are you reading that again?
I sent this read message into there,
Oh, you send it in and then I see it.
and then you click the read message. Okay. Yeah. So we got that, but we don't see it yet because we need a video plane to display the texture on. So let's add our video plane. JIT GL video plane at texture. What did we call it? My text. And then for mixing ability, let's do at blend enable 1 at depth enable 0. Okay, my text, texture my text. Why don't I see it? Hmm?
It's just hard to see that.
Can't
All that
see you.
text. We're so blind. Can you make it bigger?
No, it's not working. Why? Where it's under handicap, accessibility. It used to be I was looking for the wheelchair.
Yes.
They changed it from a yeah.
We're just different, not handicap.
There we go. No. Oh, it's control. That's why. Okay, control.
Oh, so nice.
Too small. Too big.
And Heather's typing. Everybody isn't talking. We're just like mumbling.
Okay.
You're getting grumpy in our old age.
Do you have a video playing? Why don't I have a video playing? Does anybody have a video playing?
Yes.
All right, I don't for some reason. Play, damn it. No.
I do, I win.
It was working this morning. What is wrong?
Try to toggle on and off.
Oh yeah, maybe.
That's what I did.
Ah, thank you. We must have made a change in something. All right, cool. Wow, look at that high resolution chickens.
No chickens.
They look beautiful. And they just keep walking out over and over and over again. All right, great. So that's cool. We've seen this before. Let's do something cool. Let's look at,
Wait, quick question?
Yeah.
Maybe. What is the thing that we did before when you wanted it to like fill the box?
so yeah, if you wanted to fill the box, then you can have at at transform reset, I think.
That's right, we weren't sure.
What is there a reason why our videos wouldn't play?
What?
Toggle on toggle.
Toggle on the world. You probably made some kind of change in the world.
Did you try rereading a video?
Yeah, I've done that.
And at ortho.
Actually, on your movie plane, put it at transform reset 2. That should do it.
Can I ask a stupid question?
Yeah.
Where are the
Yeah.
media files again? I deleted my shortcut.
Yeah, if you updated your jitter, then your shortcut went away.
It's under
So you have to go into applications and you have to show package contents.
right. Yeah, I did that.
And then it's under let's see,
Resources.
show package content. I believe it's under Resources C74. Media. Jitter.
Got it. Thank you.
And then just drag that over into your favorites. Then it'll be a lot easier to get to it. Okay, so that's a really easy way of playing a video.
So much easier.
Oh, wow. So very easy.
Well, you don't need a render. All the rendering is all encapsulated in here.
This whole time.
All right, let's look at some cool stuff. We don't have much time. Let's look at some grid shapes. JIT, GL, grid shape. And then say at lighting enable. Actually, just say grid shape. It's fine. Just say grid shape. And I don't see it. Damn it. Oh, you know what? It's probably behind this thing. Let's add an enable over here. Enable $1, and let's be able to disable this video plane. Put a toggle above this. There we go. Yeah, okay, now I can see it. It was just behind my video plane. So now I've turned this off. The default grid shape is a sphere. It looks like a big gray blob right now because, why? Why do you think that is?
There's no lighting.
Exactly.
I learned something last week.
At lighting enable 1. Now you get this thing that looks like like the front of a blimp. That's because, it's not, it's smooth shading. I mean, it's just flat shading each one of those segments of the mesh. And the mesh has a dimension of some dimensionality. And that you can emulate a 3D, a smooth thing by saying smooth shading 1, at smooth shading 1. But let's not do that yet. I want to show you the dimension. This makes it really easy to see dimensionality of this grid shape. Right click on its inlet and go to where find the word DIM 2020. Right click on the inlet of the grid shape to open up this list and find DIM 2020. And try changing the dimensions. You'll see that circle becomes either more complex or less or more simple. And you can actually make other shapes by just taking a sphere and lowering its dimension. To like here's like an icosahedron. But it's basically just a simplified sphere. Add a jit.handle, jit.gl.handle to this grid shape. Jit.gl.handle. Now you can move this thing around.
Where does that patch into?
Oh, sorry, patch it into the grid shape. Now you can hover over it and move it with your mouse. You can even hold control option to zoom it in and out, or command to move it right to left. You can reset the handle back to its original position by sending the word reset to it. Whoops. Okay. Let's change the scale on this. So you can right click on this and find and open up a box that says scale. Sorry, look for scale. Where is it? Yeah, it's going to be scale 1111. Oh, there it is. It's in the middle column somewhere about 2/3 of the way down. And now try reducing its scale. It will look really weird if you're not scaling everything together. You can squish it on any of those axes. But usually we'll be, if we're dealing with spheres and stuff, we'll probably be scaling it, all of them at the same time. We can actually just send the message into its scale and then use our $1 and then just do $1 3 times so that it replaces that value for for X, Y, and Z. $1, $1, $1, and then have a float over here. Send that in there, and the grid shape over here. Into the grid shape over here. And now I can scale all together and change the size of this. I'm going to put its dimensions back to 20 by 20. You can try different shapes. You can right click here and open a different shape. Look for the word shape. Shape, sphere. I can change it. Those are your options of primitives. Sphere, torus, cylinder, open cylinder, cube, open cube, plane, circle, cone, and capsule.
Wait, how did you get that?
Right click on the inlet and find the thing that says shape. So there's a capsule. Torus is kind of cool. It's a big donut.
What would be the reason my scale all isn't working?
This right here.
Yeah.
What do you have on your message? Is it scale $1?
Space $1 space $1 space $1 space $1.
And you're putting that into the grid shape?
Going straight to the grid shape. Yep.
And it's a float.
This is a float.
And the number that you put into it is a float, not an int, right? And you're making a value between 0 and 1. You're not above 1, right?
0.28.
I will have to look.
Well, what we do?
What's your dimensions?
Dimensions 2751.
Oh, and did you reset your handle? So
I did not put a reset, so I need a reset message going into the handle.
well, if you want it to go back to the original value, you might have moved things.
Well, reset.
Is your object, is your
Scale.
scale a message?
Yeah, is this, oh, you use a scale object and not a scale message.
Look at that.
Good catch.
Jolly good.
All right, let's move this around with let's make another grid shape. So we got this one, that's cool. Let's just duplicate this. We got to let's specify the scale on this second grid shape. Let's say at scale 0.3, 0.3, 0.3. So now we have this. Oh, that's kind of cool looking. It's like a torus.
Like a ball there.
Yeah, like a ball bearing.
What,
Okay, so we got this. Let's make the mouse be able to move this thing around. There's an object called. Okay, well, first of all, jit.world can report the mouse, but it only reports the mouse when you're clicking. So if you're clicking in the thing and dragging things around, it will come. I think it's one of these. Oh, it just comes out of the dump outlet. Right. Send a message. Attach a message to the from the dump outlet of this JIT world to the right inlet of a message. And now move your mouse around. You'll see it says mouse and then a bunch of different numbers.
Yay.
So we can use that. Actually, let's use that. I think that's better than the way I did it earlier. So all you have to do is message coming out of here. If you're highlighted in your window and you click and drag your mouse around, it will send the word mouse out with a bunch of different values.
why is only one shape moving?
Because that handle is only attached to that shape, and you don't have a handle on the other shape.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
All right, but that's okay. We're gonna have the handle move around this shape, and we're gonna have the mouse move around the other shape.
And you typed in, sorry, I just missed, you typed in mouse and then the numbers were automatically populated, or what?
No, I didn't type in anything. If you click over, if you have a message attached to the dump outlet of the jit.world,
No.
and you click on the screen, it will route mouse messages out like this. So all we have to do is from this, we can route the word mouse. And then attach this to the route of mouse. And now it should just be those values. See that?
Kind of.
Sorry, how
I
do
see
you
you doing it.
how do you attach that again?
All it is coming from the right outlet of the jit.world to a route mouse. And then you'll see it's making a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different numbers. I think the third number has to do with whether you click. Probably the other ones are like whether you're right clicking, and then maybe scroll wheel is the other ones, the other values. But we don't need those. We're just going to use the first two values. So let's do an unpack 0, 0 to get the first two values, and attach that from the route mouse's outlet. And now, let's see. Now we can repack those into a POC because we want it to be able to update all the time. Position 0, 0. And now take the output of these unpack to the second and third inlet of this POC. Skip the first one because that's the word position and we don't want that to change. And then send that into this other grid shape down here. I'm just going to move this grid shape over here so that it's closer. And now you should be able to move that around. Oh, it probably just disappeared right off your screen. That's because of the values are not this. We need to massage our data, right? So OpenGL values scale between -1 and 1. But I believe our mouse values are going off of your pixels on the screen. So what is what's the values that are coming out of here? Let's take a look. So if I'm looking at this mouse and I'm all the way over here, I'm at 0, and if I'm all the way out here, I'm at 640. And if I'm up at the top, I'm at probably I'm at 0, and if I'm at the bottom, I'm probably at 480, right? Yep, 640 by 480. I guess that's our window size by default. So what we can do is we can just scale this with a scale object this time.
Hey Jackson, we're not getting any numbers coming out into a message from the route mouse.
640, 480, and then we're scaling to the values of -1. I'm sorry, that's totally wrong. We need to have two different scales. We need to have one between 0 and 640. And then we're scaling that to values between -1 and 1. And then we'll have another scale object for the Y values. And that will be between 0 and how many? 480. And that one's going to be, because OpenGL is backwards on the Y values, it's going to be between 1 and -1. Now you can take the output of this unpack here, pass that into that scale. The output of this unpack into this. I'll come back to you, Trey, don't worry. And then back into this position, but skip the first inlet of this POC position. Now, should work. Oh, maybe it's not working because, oh, Jesus. No, mine's not working either. I should have done it the way I did it earlier, which is I didn't use the mouse coming out of this. I used a different mouse. I think it's because of this handle. I think that's what's screwing things up. Let me try just deleting my handle here and see if that fixes it. No. Darn it, maybe this has to be locked. Fuck it, it's not working. All right. Jitter hurts.
Oh Lord, alright.
All right, sorry, that's not working for me. I'm going to use, instead of using this routing mouse out of this, I'm going to use a new object and just do it. Instead of attaching it to the JIT world, there's a thing called mouse state. Leave all that scaling alone, that's fine, leave that alone. There's a thing called mouse state. And you'll have to send the word poll into the mouse state to make it work.
That's really funny. Where's calling it mouse state.
Exactly.
Preliminary election.
And then you can see that this is the horizontal, and this is the second is the horizontal, and the third is the vertical location. So we can just use those. We don't need an unpack anymore because they're already unpacked. So take the horizontal, which is that second outlet, send that to that scale, the vertical to the other one. Now you're probably going to find out that these have a different scale than what we had before, because this is based on like the size of your what your monitor's resolution is. So let's take a look. Just take a look real quick at what those values are. Whoops. And adjust your scaling accordingly. So mine goes from 0 to 1280, and probably from 0 to 800, because I'm a 1280 by 800 on this projector. So I can just change this to 0 to 1280, and this other one to 0 to 800. Yeah, what's going on? You don't get numbers in what?
In the
I don't get
messages.
messages in the mouse state poll messages,
Did you send a poll? Did you actually click on the poll?
but I still don't get messages.
Oh,
Did you patch to the wrong inlet of your
Yes, it did.
that would do it.
Wait, can you just hang on that screen for a second?
yes.
Okay, so.
So wait, that scaling is wrong. No, this should be right. Yeah, fuck. All right, moving on. This isn't working right. It was working before, but
Should we be getting numbers out of the mouse state at all?
yes, you should. If you don't have any numbers coming out, then you need to actually click this button that says poll. Otherwise, it's not going to output any numbers.
I did. What if we did and it's coming out?
Which outlets are you attached to on the mouse state?
The second and third.
And do you have it just going to a message box right here so you can see some?
Message box, yeah. The right inlet?
The right inlet or the left inlet of the message box? I'm still not. Mine's still not moving right. Is it moving around for you guys? Is anybody's moving around right? Mine's scaled wrong.
Track your mouse, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea is that it's supposed to track your mouse and
Yeah.
follow you around, but mine's not working right.
Mine is.
Great, good.
It's jumping
That's
around.
the only thing that's been working for me this whole class.
Yeah, I need to figure out what's up with the jumping around. I want to come back to that because I want to show you one more thing before we're running out of time.
Hey, mine's working.
Great. The one other thing I just wanted to show you, we'll look at this again next week, but let me show you this. Let's do some sound interaction. So do what's called an easy ADC. ADC stands for, what does it stand for, Gilly?
Analog digital converter.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. So that it takes the analog signal of your voice and turns it into digital data.
EABC?
No, easy ADC. Easy ADC.
Letters and stuff.
And then we're gonna send this into a thing called meter tilde. All the sound objects have tildes after them. You'll find. That's like the MSP side of Max. And then send that into a float.
Meter tilde?
Meter tilde.
This really thing.
Yeah, I know what tilde is. You actually type it in.
It should just fill it in for you if you just start typing meter.
Sorry,
That was fair.
And then turn this on, and you should be able to see that meter and be changing values.
Yeah.
So let's, yeah, send that into a float. And then let's scale that to something. I use the scale something like scale 0 to 0.5. I'm scaling that between 0.3 to 0.7. And I'm going to use this to scale the size of something. So I have a float over here now. So that's my scaled output. And now I can say scale
Oh my god, there's so many numbers.
$1, $1, $1, $1, and then put that into
This is cool.
this over here. And now this thing is moving based on my voice.
That's amazing. Can you zoom into those numbers a little? Thank you.
Thank you.
That's
amazing.
Oh no, you're leaving. Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Okay, whereas the scale is going into the GGL grid shape.
Grid shape, yeah. The one down here, the torus.
There's the fluctuating donut.
Yeah. And if you want the fluctuating donut to be a little bit be a little bit smoothed out, you can put something called a slide object in between this and the scale. And that logarithmically slides from one value to another. It smooths it all out. And you just put in different, its arguments are float values that have to do with the logarithmic base exponent. It's a little hard to explain, but larger values will smooth it out more. But a good one that I find, a good all-around value is slide 10, 10. You have to give it an up value and a down value. So let's try slide 10, 10, and then pass that into the scale like this. And now, whoops, and now you'll see that it's a little bit more gradual. Gradual.
Mine is just jumping from one size to the other. And then
You probably don't have a float somewhere. You have an int box instead of a float somewhere.
I think they're floats though, because they have decimals.
Okay.
Hello.
I'll look at it in a minute. Because we're pretty much out of time. We're out of time now, so that's it for today. Homework is to finish those tutorials if you haven't. Please turn in your completed opacity mixer that's working.
Yeah, about it working.
If it's not working, that's your homework, is to get it working. The examples will be up on the website. I updated the website, but for whatever reason, I forgot to save it, and so it didn't get updated until this morning. So I apologize about that. So I will make sure to save it next time.
Is there a reason why I wouldn't want to access my microphone? Should I check my
Do you have your ADC? Is this? Oh, did you click on this microphone? Is it blue or is it gray?
It's blue. The toggle is on.
Then do you have like Soundflower? Maybe you were messing around with your input settings. I'll take a look.
This is cool.
All right, I'll look at it right now if you want me to, Seth.
My numbers are jumping around, but the torus is not jumping around.
Save this. All right, I better stop. All right.